April 14th, 2021, we released our top 20 Sonic video game music with tracks chosen by us, the Discord. YouTube commenters did not like this. For example, Mateus Silva says, "This top 20 was very weird. There's a lot of better music in the franchise." Muhammad Rashid says, "To be honest, this was a bad list. There were better Sonic OSTs out there." I replied to each negative comment, telling them that our list is chosen by the Discord, who are not necessarily Sonic music experts or even fans. We have a different theme every week, and it just so happened to be Sonic's Week. I invited the haters to submit their own top 3 and received mostly positive feedback. I've compiled the song choices for this week's video titled Top 20 Sonic VGM Haters' Revenge. Ooh. Our first choice is going to be from 2 Cups of Orange Juice. 2 Cups of Orange Juice originally said, "Definitely some weird picks. None of them are bad by any means, though, besides maybe Almost Dead." Cross-eyed face. I see you're going to redo this soon, so I'll look out for that. These are the picks from 2 Cups of Orange Juice. First choice from 2 Cups of Orange Juice is Live and Learn by Crush 40 from Sonic Unleashed. Very clearly says Sonic Adventure 2. I've already made my first massive error saying this is from Sonic Unleashed. Very clearly, that's Sonic Adventure 2. Rated for everyone. We're going to be hearing a lot of music from Sonic Adventure by this composer Crush 40, which I guess is a band. Seems more like a band. Maybe I should have researched that, but hey. I'm just here to play the picks that people say. When I think of modern Sonic music, I think of like rock and vocals and guitar, and this sort of like, those are pinched harmonics. It's very sort of like Motley Crue. It's sort of like really hair metal, which I always thought was kind of funny, because it's like Sonic came out in the early 90s and was a hit because it had this crazy, like the music on the Genesis was like this crazy, bouncy, fun, kind of like synth pop. And then they went to this late 80s, early 90s hair metal thing, even though the games were released in the late 90s and the early 2000s. I always thought it was kind of strange. But when I do think of Sonic being like a wild guy with crazy spiky hair, and he's just flying through the air, and he doesn't give a care. He doesn't even wear clothes other than shoes. Like, what is he, a nude model? Posing in some calendar? All I wear is the shoes, ladies. And then he actually has a romantic relationship with a human woman as a blue animal mascot. So far, and wide. Anyway, that's our first pick from Sonic Adventure 2. Our next pick by aquabluetea And they commented on our previous video, I got your better top 20 Sonic songs right here. Well, not really my top 20, but these are definitely better than most of the ones you listen to. Their first choice, from Sonic CD, Quartz Quadrant G Mix. It's a nice little pick. It kind of reminds me of Mario Sunshine. It's got that sort of tropical, sunshiny vibe, and the sort of like, I don't know if you call them Mediterranean or whatever region a lot of accordions are from, and it's got kind of like a Mediterranean feel, like you're in a little village square. It's not a super fast song, but it's really bouncy and catchy, and love the percussion and those like fun little synth bits. It definitely sounds like it's carrying on from what they did in the Sega Genesis, Sonic 1 and 2 and Knuckles and all that shit, but just using a little bit more of what you could do on a CD to bump up the quality of it, add a few more instruments. Really nice track. This is what I definitely love about early Sonic music. It's so nice. I'm going to add this to my faves. Our next hater was Taidow, who didn't really have a hatery comment. This is actually a pretty nice one. Anyways, they said, I wouldn't say the list in the video sucked completely, but there are some questionable choices. If you're still taking suggestions, I might throw my hat into the ring. I heard you say you preferred original Genesis stuff. I'm going to list some songs from the Saturn onwards, so not doing anything. So they said, hey, I hear you like Genesis stuff, so I'm going to list everything that's not that. They might be numbered here, but in no particular order. So I think Taidow put it like 20 different Sonic songs. So I asked Taidow, could you give me a top 3? That's the whole point of this video that we do. And then Taidow said, and this is what I think is illuminating. Taidow says, oh boy, making the test hard, huh? Based on other possible suggestions you might get, I'm going to go with some that I consider hidden gems. And that got me thinking. People were listening to our top 20 list and going, what the hell is this fucking shit? This fucking shit's all weird, totally whack. This is not the best stuff. But you see, when you ask this person to narrow it down to just 3, they all of a sudden start thinking about, oh, I'll give you hidden gems. So maybe that is part of the psychology of it. Anyways, yeah, Jorge, it's like telling someone their cooking wasn't inedible. You cooked it. It's not going to kill me, but I don't like it. Do you guys have wine? Here's some beer. All right, so after all that, the first track choice from Taidow is Rumbling Highway Mission Street from Sonic Adventure 2. That is a really lively track. I just love the sound of real musicians playing. This isn't just stuff that's been sequenced on. That guitar is so tastefully done. The way that it's just a little bit cleaner than a lot of the really heavily distorted guitar you hear gives it so much more personality. You can really hear all the skill on this guitar and the emotion from it. It's a lot harder for you to be able to play guitar that clean and that precise. And there's like two guitars sort of doing a harmonizing thing. It sounds amazing. And the composition of this track as well is like really long and winding, and I love the way it just like builds and builds and builds, and then it does this nice section at the end. It's like such a cool kind of come down after you've built up to that big climax. Really fun. All right. Mac JCB commented, "Bruh, what was this list?" And I told him what we were going to do, and he responded, "The Genesis tracks were great, but good music surely didn't end there. I'd recommend you check out the Unleashed soundtrack. If I were to choose three, I'd have to say," and this was their first choice, "Chun-nan Night" from Sonic Unleashed, chosen by Mac JCB. Wait a second. If you're watching the video of this, I like how, does this girl just wake up from being sort of passed out and then Sonic the Werehog is right behind her? She's like, "Oh, what happened? Gotta go, bye!" That was weird. Was I just violated? That was fucking weird. Yeah, this is a great song. Like Claudio was saying, this is a beautiful piece of music, but does it fit this game, or what was happening in this cutscene, or him running around as a werehog, this like beefed up steroid, crazy out of control version of himself, and he's just destroying everything with his pure bestiality. That's what the Sonic fans really want. But a beautiful piece of music. Really sort of traditional Chinese, I want to say. And again, just like making use of like the real recordings to get those real performances. Mixed in with like some cool kind of like digital percussion. It's nice. Next up, Gaming Pal Wolfgang commented on our original video. "Okay, this list sucks." Kiwichi replied to that comment, "Yeah, this is bizarre." So I put the same thing to Gaming Pal Wolfgang, told him what was going on and that he was welcome to give his own 3 songs. And this is what he said. "Oh, well, reducing it to 3 is kind of a hard thing, but if I had to choose, endless possibilities for starters." So let's hear Endless Possibilities for Starters from Sonic Unleashed, chosen by Gaming Pal Wolfgang. The summer of '04.
This is my escape. I'm running through this world and I'm not looking back. 'Cause I know I can go where no one's ever gone and I'm not looking back. But how will I know when I get there? And how will I know when to leave? We've all gotta start from somewhere, and it's right there for me. The possibilities are never ending. I see it, and now it's all within my reach. Possibility. I see it now. It's always been inside of me. And now I feel so free. And it's possibility. And so I'll carry on. My time to shine is come.
Yeah.
I feel it.
You know, if you had to describe this track like Corky is doing, you would say, yeah, this is like it's like a sound alike to say Blink-182 or like pop punk bands, maybe even a bit emo in there. It's like a bit more emotional than sort of braggadocious. But even though it's trying to just sound like one of those, I feel like the difference with this track is that they're really putting in a lot of heart into it. And actually, just that opening with the guitar sounds here. Let me crank this up. I really like that guitar tone. I really like that riff. The drums. Like everything about this is they're really trying, and they're trying to make it quite interesting. They really could have easily just gone a lot more generic. But this actually has some good soul to it. And I think they're just so right on with how that sounds at that time. Like even just like the tone of the voice and like the recording style and like the snare drum sound. That little thing. Like you can just see a guy with like dyed hair and like a striped shirt jumping up and down, trying to throw the guitar around their head and accidentally hitting himself at some all-ages punk show. More like the Pillows Japanese band. Yeah, I think of it just as like it's a bit Blink. Blink was a little maybe like early Blink. Like the Ataris or something. This sounds like Warp Tour to me. Alright, now this person wasn't necessarily a hater. They just jumped on when somebody had recommended the entire Sonic Unleashed soundtrack. That seems to be the one that resonates the most with the modern Sonic fans, or just the second era Sonic fans. So Champ responded to Daniel K. and just said, Windmill Isle Day on loop since 2008. They accidentally wrote in loop, but I think they probably mean on loop. Anyway, here we go. This is Windmill Isle Day. This one's interesting because it starts off and you think, oh, it's going to be a nice little bossa nova kind of slow jam, and then all of a sudden it double times it on the drums, but they're these sort of like jungle drum and bass type drums. I think jungle you'd call them. The way they're just kind of like so fast and kind of going back and forth. And it's like a lot of Sonic tracks and the modern ones. There's always that constant snare on the 2 and the 4. I'm joking. Yeah, nice variety. Really good like shredding on it. A lot of like sort of solo play with it. Again, like I said, with a lot of these Sonic modern tracks, these real instruments and real players to get some great performances. This one's really fun. This one kind of feels like a bit of a throwback to what could be an earlier Sonic track. This one's great. I'm going to add this one to my favorites as well. All right. The YouTube watcher July, not the month, commented, I can't believe nobody has recommended Big Arms from Sonic Generations yet. It's one of the best boss themes in the series. So let's listen to that. Big Arms from Sonic Generations. Boss theme. Okay, I believe that this is Sonic Generations on the... Let's see. We're looking at the Sonic 3 Big Arms boss battle. Okay, this is the one. Yeah, this is the one they want to do. I just had the word video. Man, great track. Another one that kind of feels like a nice throwback to a simpler Sonic time. But definitely has that more modern, straight-ahead rock beat. It's funny how, again, it starts off really slow, and then, bam, always goes into that double time. Always that crazy-ass, gotta go fast, which is the mantra of Sonic, so you can't blame him. Pretty fun. Grandbean had no comment, but just jumped on to reply with one of their own suggestions. Very clean. The suggestion was Fight the Night, Sonic and the Black Knight. This is composed and performed by Crush 40, chosen by Grandbean. So this is that style we were talking about, the really kind of modern cock rock. Sounds like Vince Neil, you know, from Motley Crue. It sounds like a dirty man singing this to you. We'll fight. There's a lot of jangle sounds in this and a lot of like fuzz. Like the guitar has this weird kind of like the bass has got a really kind of low, grindy, distorted sound to it. So I find it really distracting. It really feels like Sonic going through a phase. Yeah, this is definitely. You know, I saw one comment that was in Shadow the Hedgehog, and it was this kind of song, like really dark and evil. And the commenter said, "They go, true story. One time I swore at my mom and went into my room and played this song loud. Yeah. Swearing at your mom." And this swear was probably like, crap you. All right, we're back to our first submitter, aquabluetea. This is their second pick. It's called Number One from Sonic R. Where to fight?
Just begun. When you're next to me, so much more I can see. There's nowhere that I'd rather be. When I'm away from you, and there's nothing I can do. Do you think the same things too? When the time has come, I don't want you to run. You know that you're the only one.
So this one has a lot of the those nice synth sounds from that bring back the Genesis sound. I find the rhythm of this one a little bit off-putting. It sounds like, I don't know if it's intentional, but it's like it's like it's skipping a little beat here and there. There's like kind of a couple milliseconds off. It sounds a bit rushed, and where it should be sort of swung and relaxed and big, it sounds a bit like rushed and a bit like it's missing something. It's sort of like pushing. And then you have this girl who's like got a big, great studio voice. All I need is you. All you need is me. All we need is love. I think she's really giving it socks, as the Irish would say. Yeah, and the rhythm of the vocals too, and like some of the horns, sounds a bit definitely like, I was going to say a bit, and then I read Rudy say definitely. It's just the rhythm of it all sounds a bit off. It could be a sequencing problem, because they're combining some live performances with those sequence drums. Or if they just did it in a hurry, or if they wanted to have that kind of like push feel, but it's a bit odd to me. Taidow's second pick from Sonic and the Black Knight. This is Deep Woods. This is that's actually pretty nice. You know, and if I had to think of somebody creating a Sonic soundtrack, but for some reason Sonic is in like a fucking medieval world with King Arthur's sword and he's riding on like a horse carriage, and what the hell? Why? I guess Mario goes into really weird places, but it always felt like the weird places Mario went to were normal for where he was, you know. They were like, you're in the Mushroom Kingdom, and whatever was weird, it was his own thing, you know. It's sort of like in the latest Mario, Odyssey, where he like fights a dragon in kind of a fantasy place, or goes to a place that looks like New York City, and it starts to feel a bit weird because it's too close to you know, real life for this cartoon looking video game character. This is nice though. I really like this. I love the combination of all the different elements. Like when it first starts off, almost sounds like a 12 string or something, and it has that kind of medieval feel, but it's got like a dancey beat that sounds kind of organic, you know, like you could almost play it in medieval times. It's just like shaking rice or something. Go shake the mead barrel. It's really nice. I think it works really, really, really well. The game looks fucking weird, but I like the music. All right, we have another Crush 40 track from Sonic Adventure. This is chosen by 2 cups of orange juice. The track is Open Your Heart. So yeah, another one of these tracks that's sort of like Motley Crue style thing. Holy shit, some of these lyrics are so clunky when it goes, you and I are the same in the way that we have our own styles that we won't change. Yours is filled with evil and mine's not. There's no way I can lose. Holy hell, that's difficult for anybody to do. But I think actually for how clunky that is, pretty decent vocal performance. Mac JCB, their second choice was Mystic Mansion from Sonic Heroes. Someone gonna get that door? Someone's here. I think someone's here. Man, that's bloody good. I really like that, actually. Definitely a throwback to, I would say, Mystic Cave Zone from Sonic 2. Let's give that a listen. Same the same kind of like whistling instrument. Not there. A real kind of funky beat. This is Mystic Cave from Sonic 2. Very, very spooky, very Halloweenish. There's a part in this, the little breakdown that happens at the end that I fucking love so much. Ding, ding. I think it's going to come up right now. Man, just going back and listening to this track from Sonic 2, it only has that one drum beat, and it can only do a couple instruments at a time, but I feel like it just makes the most of every little piece that's on there, the way they overlap with each other. Every piece of it is so catchy. And just like such a badass kind of swing. Incredible. Made on a Sega Genesis hardware, probably when would the Genesis come out? Like 1991? Wild. Alright, speaking of retro Sonic, this is a new Sonic game with a retro sound to it. This is from Sonic Mania. Sonic Mania was created by... This is a pretty interesting story. I'm sure anybody watching this already knows, but Sega had kind of a bad reputation with putting their older Sonic games onto phones. They were doing really bad versions, and they ended up finding a guy who had been working on Sonic mods and Sonic emulation and creating their own Sonic games that stayed very true to the original Sonic games that were on the Genesis. And this person was able to emulate Sega's Sonic games better than Sega could themselves. And Sega actually just hired a fan that had dedicated their life to working on these games to emulate those games for them, and then gave them a shot at making their own fully fledged Sonic game. It was called Sonic Mania, and this track is from Studiopolis Zone Act A. This track is so bloody fun. Now this is like, again, they went and found T. Lopez, who had been doing, I guess, like what fan arrangements? Let's see. T. Lopez composed the soundtrack. He was making fan-made rearrangements of Sonic music, among others. He's a Portuguese genius, é mesmo? He also did the recent Streets of Rage 4 and TMNT retro modern games. Pretty badass. To me, it sounds faster as it goes along. So I clocked that one in at 119 beats per minute. So let's go back and let's go back to the opening of that track and see what it's at.
Lights, camera, action.
No, it's the same. I mean, it came in at 120. I think that's probably just because I started faster. I started right on time, whereas before maybe I started slow and it ended up being at 118. So I don't think the BPM does change. I just think it's got this where it feels like it's anticipating the beat and hitting it a little sooner than you would think, which makes it sound like it's in a hurry, like it's sort of falling forward. This track is fucking incredible. It's so bouncy and funky. With just like big orchestral kind of hits, and the arrangement of it just sounds like a big band made up of a bunch of Sega Genesis old school FM synths. It's so swanky. Swanky and stanky. All right, we have another track from Grandbean. This is from Sonic Forces. The hell did I just click on? This is Justice, Park Avenue. Smooth, so smooth.
Here comes the enemy, strike them
Oh
down.
God.
We can't let evil win, take them out. This is justice, this is what's right. Here comes the enemy, mess them up. And bring them to the knees, do your stuff. Time for justice, time to go fight.
Kind of sounds like Lady Gaga.
This is what's right. Here comes the enemy, mess them up. And bring them to the knees, do your stuff. Time for justice, time to go fight.
It's pretty fun, actually. It's definitely, like, you know, quite different from the original stuff, but that's cool. I mean, you do have to evolve. It's got that kind of jungly beat. Really fast, really propulsive. The vocals are weird, but I find that they're used, because they're used kind of rhythmically, it's more like an instrument as opposed to a singer. I really love all the synth sounds, and looking at the game, it looks like a really cool evolution of the Sonic style. It's zoomed way further back in the video. I know I'm reviewing the video instead of the music, but because it's zoomed so much further back, look, it's zoomed out again, you can actually see what Sonic is going to be running into because he's going so fast. It was such a problem with the earlier games. Alright, this one is chosen by aquabluetea. It's from Sonic Adventure 2. It is Fly in the Freedom. Adam Levine?
Here in my house, you don't know how to f with me. I'm the one back together after everything that we've been through. Sleeping up under the covers. I'm so far away from you, distant. When we're kissing, feel so different. Baby, darling, how did you get so cold enough to chill my bones? It feels like I don't know you anymore. I don't understand why you're so cold to me with every breath you breathe. I see there's something going on. I don't understand why you're so cold, yeah. Whoa, yeah, whoa, yeah. I don't understand why you're so cold enough to chill my bones. It feels like I don't know you anymore. I don't understand why you're so cold to me with every breath you breathe. I see there's something going on. I don't understand why you're so cold, yeah. Whoa, yeah, whoa, yeah. I don't understand why you're so cold.
Oh, I see.
Holding on for you wanna leave, just leave.
Okay, this
Why
is...
you wanna bite your tongue for?
What the hell is this? This is like a mashup of Maroon 5's Cold and a Sonic track. What the fuck is this? aquabluetea. Fly in the Freedom. What the hell's going on here? Fly in the Freedom, Sonic. Ba-dum-bum. Maybe this is it. Okay, yeah, so that was some kind of a mashup. I think this might be the original. You know, as somebody who hates Maroon 5 and hates Adam Levine, when I did hear his voice in the mashup, there's something about his voice that does actually kind of jump out right away and is like quite listenable, and there's a quality to it. I can see why he's had a successful career since like the fucking late 90s, and we're in 2020 now. He's entering some 90s. Was he in the 90s? He might have been. I must know. When was This Love by Maroon 5? 2002. Oh, okay. So 20 years. He's been around for 20 years. I don't like it, but it is, he does have a quality. Star power. Katie's got star power. Okay, this next track is a really, really good one. If you were into more ambient stuff, more beautiful stuff, this sounds like it could have came from a Donkey Kong game. Donkey Kong Country, that is. This is Sea Bottom Sieg. It actually sounds like a Donkey Kong track from Sonic Lost World, chosen by Taidow. It's funny. It seems like these Sonic tracks, all the later ones, it's like they're afraid of going slow. So the closest you're going to get to them going slow is this kind of like, it feels like the last 7 tracks we've heard have had this jungle beat to them. It's like, it's still really quick, but it just happens to be staggering a little bit, you know? Anyways, it is actually quite emotional. I love the piano, I love the rise of it, I love those rising notes, the chord progression. It's really gorgeous. Who would have thought? Oh, it just gets more emotional. All right, next up, this is Night of the Wind from Sonic and the Black Knight, performed and composed, I guess, by Crush 40, and chosen by 2 Cups of Orange Juice. Interesting. I feel like the last one we heard from Sonic and the Black Knight, where he was in these medieval times, it had much more like organic feel, more guitars, organic percussion, just like very kind of natural, non-electronic or digital instruments. And this is like right back with that kind of guitar and Sonic and singing, oh yeah. But it's pretty fun. It's pretty catchy. I can see, like, if you were trying to appeal to a new kind of generation of young kids, this is actually more of what people would think, oh, this is actually I don't know, like fun and energetic and appealing to kids. Whereas like the stuff from the Genesis stuff, it was bouncy, it was fun. It wasn't really what kids would be listening to on the radio. It was more just, there just were no rules back then, so people did whatever they thought would work, and it just so happened to work really, really well. This next one was requested by a few different people in the comments. This is Planet Wisp from Sonic Colors, first requested by Mac JCB. Really nice. It's very peaceful. It's gorgeous. It's fast. Again, like a lot of Sonic tunes, like the bass and the dance and like that quick kind of funk guitar. It's quick, but compared to all the Sonic songs we've been hearing so far, it's more chilled out. It's more peaceful. And I think that's actually quite an achievement to make something like this sound relaxing, even though it shouldn't be relaxing if you look at all the elements of it on paper, but the way it comes together in a beautiful way is a lot more relaxing than the sum of its parts. Sorry, than the individual parts. We've got another one from Sonic Mania. This is Press Garden Zone Act 2, chosen by gaming pal Wolfgang. The Sonic Mania stuff is like, has this awesome halftime swing. It's like a halftime swing funk. So funky, really like tight riffs and like shots, stabs, awesome synth. It just nails everything that was good about the early Sonic games. The early Sonic games music. Fucking love it. Oh, and it's pretty emotional too. Not just like fun and swanky. Oh, this next one is called Rooftop Run. There's 2 versions of it from Sonic Generations. This is the modern version. It was chosen by 2 cups of orange juice. This one I really like. There's a weird combination of instruments in here, and there's just something about the violin in this that feels really original and very memorable. Rooftop Run, Sonic Generations. Simple melody line. Da-da-da, da-da-da. But I love the way it just does that kick snare, double time punk beat. It's almost like a polka beat, but just kind of, it's like a backwards polka beat. And then with the violin too, it's just got this exuberant, like, it totally matches the feeling of Sonic just fucking blasting off and flying and things. It's like out of control how fast it is, but it still maintains control. Crazy. Reminds you of Xenoblade 2. Oh, interesting. And to me, that's a very classic Sonic anthem to me. It's, the other ones that have the guitar and the rock and stuff, and they're telling more of a story, but this is just like a simple, pure melody that encapsulates what they've been trying to do with Sonic gameplay for so long. But it's interesting because Sonic gameplay is always about going fast, and then there's moments, I guess, where it's just kind of slow down, platform, a little bit speeded, oh, okay, slow down, platform, oh, the platform goes really fast, oh. 2 Cups of Orange Juice had a number of great track suggestions, and this is one of the ones that I found from Sonic CD. This is Quartz Quadrant P mix. What's this yellow fluid? Don't drink that. That's the P mix. This is good. Yeah, I was sort of digging through the crates, as you'd say, because 2 Cups of Orange Juice had listed a million songs. So I kind of went through and wanted to find some more. And this is something that I would pick. I fucking love that bass and the drums, and I like how it sounds like Streets of Rage. I like how it just really shows off what the Genesis could do, and what somebody who understood what the Genesis could do and understood that music as well as the sounds, and how you can combine it to make it just really, really sing. And I like it because it's very, like, what a weird drum beat. It's like this weird snare roll, this constant snare roll, but like a really dirty, kind of muffled, distorted, low fidelity snare roll. Amazing track. I like the tone of that bass. Boom, boom. It's got a really kind of creepy, it almost sounds like it's doubled a bit, or that it's got like a tiny bit of a delay or something on it. Pretty cool. All right, we are on our last track. So thank you very much for joining me on this journey. Of course, thanks to our Discord, like Claudio and Rudy and everybody else that participates for every Top 20 Video Game Music show. Thanks to the people that didn't just drop a comment like, this list sucks, whoever made this list is an idiot, whoever, seriously, I'm a psychologist, if you made this list, you should get checked out for your own, here's a mental health hotline. They didn't just say that. And when I came back at them and asked for contributions, most of the people came back very, very polite. And I think it humanized it when I was talking to them. And they came back with some really, truly good suggestions. And the most interesting part for me was that when I asked them to narrow it down to a top 3, it did change how they were thinking. And all of a sudden they were coming up with these more hidden gems. So, I mean, maybe it's my fault for calling the video top 20 Sonic tracks. You'd think if you clicked on that, you would see from 20 to number 1, some kind of like ranked, opinionated video. And instead you get, it's not really a top 20. It's more like, here's 20 tracks that Matt and the Discord have chosen who are not even Sonic fans. It's kind of a weird way to do it. It's sort of like asking somebody who's not really a Beatles fan. Yeah, I've kind of heard the Beatles, and they just go through it and they go, here's 20 I found. Yeah. Nice to see you in the chat, man. I hope you're having a good time on the road in the RV. We miss you here. This last track it starts off with like a really kind of beautiful piano ballad. It's a nice, wonderful goodbye, and then it goes into what you'd expect from a Sonic track. This is from Shadow the Hedgehog. This is Never Turn Back, and it was chosen by Grandbean. So thank you to Grandbean, 2 cups of orange juice, Gaming Pal, Wolfgang, Mac JCB, Taidow, aquabluetea, and July, Champ, everybody else that contributed on the Sonic video for Sonic's Revenge. Haters Revenge. Bye for now.